I'm recording.
Hello and welcome to all beautiful souls out there. You're listening to the Restore My Soul podcast with Princess Millens, your favorite grief coach and emotional wellness specialist. In this space, we will help those who struggle with grief and loss and have real conversations about how to overcome it in every area of life. Through our personal stories, practical information, and wisdom from Princess and her special guests. We are here to educate, inspire, and empower you with the strategies you need in your emotional healing journey. We do not offer medical advice, but we believe that we can all learn to heal by creating a mindset to grow past our pain and push toward our purpose. Our goal is to remind you that grief is a journey and you do not have to walk it alone. No matter what the pain or loss is, you can be restored and live fully in your purpose. So let's push through the pain together as we share our stories of resilience, one episode at a time.
Well, welcome everyone to the Restore My Soul podcast. I am Princess Millens, your favorite grief and emotional wellness specialist here. And we have another powerful episode for you today. And I just want to welcome you all in. We are here to help those who want to push past their struggle with grief and loss or anything that they've gone through and have real conversations. This is the place we have real conversations about how to overcome those struggles in every area of your life. And we're here to educate you and inspire you and to motivate you with the strategies and the things that you need in your emotional healing journey. So we are so excited to be here today. I have a special guest for us today. We are here with Reverend Kathlyn Strozier. She is retired college administrator. I can really identify with that because I myself taught in the classroom for 20 years in middle school and high school. So she's a retired college administrator, and she's also an ordained minister. Has been in the ministry for several years, a mother to a grandmother of 8. I'm telling y'all, she don't look like it, okay? Mother to grandmother of 8. And I just want to welcome her to the stage right now, Reverend Kathlyn Strozier. Thank you for being here today. We are so excited that you're here. And we look forward to what God has to say through your story, right? I know we're going to talk about, and you're going to be sharing about your struggles with childhood issues, marital issues, self-esteem issues, and things like that. And we want to make sure that people get all that they need to be set free, right? To be set free from the things that still have them bound in this area. So welcome to the show, Reverend Kathlyn. And we just gonna go ahead and dive into it if you don't mind. Okay.
I don't mind at all. Thank you, Pastor Princess.
Yes, you're welcome. We're gonna dive into it, and it's so much to your story. Your story is so full and powerful, and it has many facets, right? So I want you to kind of share with everybody, how you grew up, how you got to be this champion over these childhood issues and the things that we struggle with, especially as women, the things that we struggle with on a daily basis.
Thank you so much. I grew up the oldest of 3 kids, but I grew up in a home that was filled with childhood abuse. I saw things that I should not have seen as a child. I saw my father do things to my mom and hurt her. And I also grew up being abused by people in my family. At the age of maybe from 8 until about 12, somebody in my family sexually abused me. And I didn't say anything because I was told, don't say anything, because if you say something, they will not believe you.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
But I grew up, I did not want to go around them at all. So it went on and on. So it took a toll on me. And then growing up, also when I was younger, I had a speech problem. I stuttered. So I
Yeah.
didn't want to talk in school. But I
Wow.
spent a lot of time reading books. I spent a lot of
Okay.
time studying. So I
Yeah.
did all that when I was by myself. But when it came time to talk, I was not that person that you call on to talk.
Oh,
I would
wow.
rather take an F in a
Yeah.
class than to speak up.
Oh,
But if
wow.
you look at me now, you think, oh, no, that could not be you. Not as
Yeah.
much as you like to talk. But that was just growing up. So, I got after I got out of high school, and then I decided I needed to leave home because I was tired of all of that.
Yeah.
So I got married to my childhood sweetheart. He was in the military.
Yeah.
We was married. I thought everything was great. We like travel. I went to Kansas. I went to Kentucky. I
Yeah.
went to Germany. I got a chance to go to like Switzerland, Italy. I traveled. So I thought everything was fine. I
Absolutely.
had 2 kids by him. So I thought, hey, finally got this right. I'm going to have a great life. But little did I know that he was a cheater. So
Yeah.
that ended. But,
Wow.
it was okay because my thing is you experience things so you can learn things. And
Absolutely.
and in that marriage, I learned a lot. I got to travel. I learned that I could pretty much take care of myself if I had to.
Yeah.
But I was always troubled because I kept having these vision and these dreams that something was going to happen to my mom. And I
Mm.
kept telling everybody about it. Nobody
Yeah.
would even listen to me.
Yeah.
My husband at the time, he thought I was crazy. He would not listen either. Doctors thought I was losing my mind. So then when I came home after having my second one, so then my father tried to kill my mom. And
Wow.
I was like, I tried to tell you all.
Mm.
That was what I was trying to tell you. I
Yeah.
saw it, but I saw it in the opposite way. I saw
Oh,
it that he had killed my mom and he lived, but that didn't happen.
wow.
He shot my mom. She lost her arm and she lost some organs. Then he turned the gun on himself and he killed himself. And
Mm.
so I was just like, well, it's
Wow.
over. It's over.
Yeah.
He can no longer. So I was,
Absolutely.
I'm not saying I was okay with that, but
Yeah.
I was okay that he couldn't hurt her anymore.
Absolutely. 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 And that everything that you said so far is so much to unpack in there, right? And even starting what you were saying, even starting from a young girl, going through all the childhood traumas that you had to face. And a lot of times we face those things alone, especially as young as you were, 8 to 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I think a lot of young ladies, a lot of people, they are paralyzed with the
Right.
fear, like you said, the fear of being able to not tell anybody, for
Exactly.
fear of, even what people think, or, they think they're going to kill that other person, or
Right.
they told that, I'm going to harm somebody if you tell, and things like that. Can you speak to kind of what that was like, and kind of how you were able to kind of get out of that paralyzing fear to be able to share what
Well, I
happened?
was able to get out of it because they died. It was two of them. They both
Okay.
died. So when they died,
Wow.
I
Yeah.
was just like, okay, you can't hurt me
Okay.
anymore,
Wow.
And I know that's like really hard to say that when a person passes, that you're
Mhm.
kind of happy that they're gone. But it
Mhm.
wasn't so much I was happy that they was gone. I was happy that they could not hurt me and
Mhm.
they couldn't hurt anyone else because
Yeah.
I knew about me, but I didn't know if they had hurt other people too.
Wow.
But I
Yeah.
knew that what all they had done to me. So
Hmm.
as I was growing up, I thought that okay, nobody would even want me. That was the thing what I thought. I thought that
Yeah.
nobody would even want me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was looking for someone to want me. I was
Hmm.
looking for someone to love me.
Yes.
And that started a bad pattern of me being attracted to the wrong ones,
Mm.
attracted to the ones that I didn't think that they was bad, but they
Yeah.
turned out to be bad. They,
Absolutely.
when they first started out, they was all sweet and kind and everything. But then eventually they started acting the same way as
Hmm.
the people who had hurt me. So
Hmm.
as I got older, I felt as if I had this magnet on my head that
Yeah.
said, hey, if you're a person that's gonna listen to what you say, that's gonna do everything that you want, I'm
Yeah.
that girl. But I didn't
Yeah.
want to be that girl. But I
Hmm.
felt like I was that way for years and years and years
Hmm.
until maybe 6 years ago. Well, no, yeah, about 6 years ago. Even
Hmm.
when God called me into the ministry,
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear that because I knew all the things that had happened to me. And
Yeah.
I knew all the things that I had done because I was trying to prove that I was worth more than what I thought. So I
Yes.
was that person. I like did things. I mean, I did. I did things that now I like stop and think about it. And I'm like, wow, how did
Yeah.
you make it this far?
Yeah.
Doing all the things that you did.
Yeah.
And I can only say it was God. God
Yes, it
helped
was.
me because He had work for me to do. But I
Yes,
did
he
not feel
did.
that I was worth
Oh
doing
wow.
any of that because I was like, how am I going to preach God?
Yeah.
And I stutter. But then He
Yeah.
took me to the Bible.
Yes.
Moses had a
Moses.
speech
Yeah.
problem. And he
Yes.
said, I will provide for you.
Come
And
on.
so that stuck with me. But
Yes.
also in like doing that, walking in my calling, I had
Yes.
a husband at the time that he did not care for women preachers. So
Oh
that
wow.
caused the end of that marriage. But
Yeah.
it was like choose man, choose God. I
God.
chose
Yeah.
God because I'm
Amen.
like, you will leave me at any time. But I
That's
know
it.
with God, God's gonna always be right there. He would
He
never
sure
leave
will.
me.
He
So
sure will.
I chose him. And ever since I've been walking and I've
Yeah.
been talking, but I still felt it was something missing
Hmm.
because I didn't want to overstep anybody. I was
Right.
in churches and I was that person that I would follow, but I never thought that I could lead. I didn't
Oh
want
wow.
to overstep. I didn't want to
Well, see,
overplay.
you're
I
saying
didn't want,
something right there, because that goes back to what you said about feeling unworthy,
yes,
right? So
yes,
kind of speak to that feeling of unworthiness and how that kind of filtered into all different areas of your life, even the church.
right, right. It made me feel as if I needed to stay in the background. I need to stay behind the scenes. I
Yes.
needed to wait and be told what to do. I
Mm.
couldn't just step out on my own because
Yeah.
I was afraid that if I did that, somebody would start looking at my past and they would
Okay.
start looking and say,
Wow.
well, you can't do this, you can't do that because you did this and you did that. And I didn't want that. I didn't want anybody to look in that closet. I didn't want them to open that closet. I didn't want any of that. So I stayed in the background and I
Yeah.
did as I was told to do. But I
Yeah.
felt like something was missing. I
Yeah.
felt as if I wasn't really doing what God had called me to do, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure of what He wanted me to do. But I knew that that wasn't it.
Yeah. 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 And more than we would like to admit, is so many women out here that feel the same way. They have the similar experience of that feeling of unworthiness. They want to stay in the background. You know, I know how that feels myself. Want to always just stay in the background. I just want to follow. I don't want to be a leader. I'm just comfortable, right?
You're
I'm
right.
in this
Yes.
comfortable place. And when God is kind of pushing you, saying, no, 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 daughter, you're gonna be out there in the front. And we
Right.
don't know how to take that, right? We don't know how to take it.
We
But we
run.
know we run and we know that we have to be obedient.
Right.
Ultimately, we have to be obedient. And
Yes.
there's no excuse in the world that we can ever give God that he won't come back like he did Moses. He won't come back with something. Well, what you got now? Every
Right.
time Moses, I think Moses had like five things that was wrong with him, right? And every single time God came back with something. Well, what are you gonna say now? Okay, I'll
Right.
give you. Okay, I give you. Since you can't talk, I give you Aaron. How he'll just tell him what to say, and he'll say it for you. You know. Well, what if they don't believe me? You know, Moses
Right.
went on and on. Right?
He
We do
did.
the same thing.
Right.
It goes back to what you were saying about feeling like you are unworthy. So I
Yes.
want you to speak to the woman right now. Speak to even the young lady right now that's coming up and they have had similar things that happened in their life. They had childhood traumas. They had a failed marriage or things that happened in their life, right? They feel like because of their past that God could not possibly use them, right? Speak to them, and what words of encouragement would you give them to keep going and to know that that they can do it and they can move in the way that God wants them to move.
Okay. I would say, regardless of what has happened to you, regardless of how you grew up, regardless of anything that you have been in, you are
Yes.
worth more than you could ever think that you are. God created you in his image. God created you for a purpose. He ordained you before you was even formed in your mother's womb. So he already knows what's going to happen to you before it happens. But he has already placed things inside of you that when you walk through these things, when you don't quit, when you keep going through these things, you're going to see that those was just a test to get
Yes.
you to where he wants you to be. Because he knows if not, we'll stand still. Like you said, we'll be comfortable. And if
Yes.
you have gone through anything, if anybody has abused you in any way, do
Yeah.
not stay in that situation. You are worth more. You can do better by yourself. You do
Come on.
not need anybody to tell you that you're worth this. You do not need anybody to tell you that you're pretty. Tell
Yeah.
yourself that. I
Come on.
pass every morning when I get up, I get dressed, and I
Yeah.
tell myself I'm beautiful because God
Yeah.
told me that I am. So you have
Yeah.
to tell yourself that. And you keep
Yeah.
telling yourself that over and over again until you believe it. That way, when Slick Rick come up and
Come
tell
on.
you that you're beautiful, you don't need him to tell you that because you
Yes.
already know. And if you need help, do not
Yeah.
be so proud that you don't ask for help. Tell somebody of what is happening to
Yeah.
you. Get some help.
Yes.
Do not stay in what you're in. Because if I had stayed there, I wouldn't even be here today.
Yeah.
Because he had put so much.
Yeah.
But I kept hearing his voice, but I kept saying, not me. No, no, no. You're not
Yeah.
calling me for that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now it seemed like in this last month or so, well, in this last year,
Yes.
because I decided that I was done at work. I had worked 26 and a half years at my job,
Yeah.
and I was ready to try something different. I wanted to just leave and retire. I
Yeah.
wanted to put more on what he had called me to do. I wasn't sure what and
Yeah.
how, but I knew that I had to have time, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do that at work. So
Yeah.
in this last couple of months, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, God has just blessed me. I have been I have been in the ministry for
Yes.
over 11 years,
Oh
but I
wow.
was just as a licensed minister. And on
Uh-huh.
June 25th of this year, I was ordained in a church that I had never even been to before. I had just started going there after COVID, when lots of places closed down. So I
Absolutely.
started going there. And so
Yeah.
the pastor of that church, he said, I've been expecting you. And I'm like, "Hmm."
Yeah.
So he told me all about me. And I'm
Come
thinking, who
on.
told you? And he
Yeah.
said, God told me.
God did. Yeah.
He said, God told me. He said,
Yeah.
so my job, what I'm supposed to do is ordain you. He said,
Yeah.
and when I ordain you, he said, I need for you to put on your skates because you're getting ready to go. He said, because God is getting ready to send you places that you never thought that you would go. So last
Yeah.
month, I sat and I created a logo for my ministry that I plan to start,
Okay.
and it's called Right Touch of Love Ministries, because
Amen.
we all need that right touch from God.
Yes, we
Even
do.
though when I was younger, I had the bad touch,
Yes.
but now I have the right touch. And so I
Absolutely.
want to help others that have had the same type of thing happen to them. I want to be able to help them to
Mhm.
find their strength so that
Yes.
way that they could move forward in what he has called them to do.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wonderful thing, and it's so needed. It is so needed. I don't really believe that people really understand the magnitude of that type of ministry and how needed it is,
Mm,
and we know that toxic things that happen in our lives, the traumas, the pain that happens in our lives, it can have a lasting effect on
right.
us, and it filters into every other area of our life, right?
It
even in
does.
if it happened in childhood, it filters into our adulthood. And if we
Yes.
don't have the right help, if we don't have the right things in place, if we don't have the right surroundings, we don't have the right support systems, right? We don't have
Right.
the right church, right, to go to, we can find ourselves still struggling. So I'm so
Right.
glad that we had this conversation today. I know there will many people be blessed by this broadcast, and I thank God for you and your courage and your ministry to be able to share your story with the world. And just know that we love you. We'll continue to pray for you, and we know that God is
Thank
going to do
you.
great things through you in this ministry. All right. So before
Thank
we
you.
go, I want you to kind of tell the people how they can connect with you and how they can follow you, or anything that you got going on.
Hi. Okay. You can reach me by email at K period Jabez, that's JABEZ 99 at gmail.com. Or you can reach me on that old faithful Facebook I'm listed on the Facebook as Kathlyn Strozier. You can reach me there. And if you just need to talk, if you just need somebody, anything, I will be available. Weddings, counseling, whatever, I'm available.
All right. Well, we thank you so much again for being here. We love your testimony, and just keep sharing your story. I want to encourage you to just keep sharing your story.
I share it every chance I get. If anybody asks, I'll definitely tell it.
Absolutely. And we thank you for it. Okay.
Thank
so
you.
We'll see you on the next episode. Hopefully you'll come back and see us soon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And you have a blessed week. And thank you again for having me.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too.
All right.
All right. Now, everybody, thank you so much for being here at the Restore My Soul podcast, this episode. I hope it blessed you as it has blessed me. Reverend Kathlyn Strozier had a powerful testimony, and we know that no matter what we have gone through, that God is able. He is able. He specializes in the things that are impossible, and he is able to carry us through every trial, every situation, and every circumstance. And we thank God for today. So thank you for joining us today on this episode, and we pray that we'll see you soon in the next episode.
Thank you for joining another episode of Restore My Soul podcast. Be sure to listen and watch each week as we continue the conversation on how to bounce back from the setback of grief and loss, and to become resilient so that you too can thrive in life. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any new episodes. And share this with as many people as possible so they can be encouraged in their emotional wellness journey. We invite you to follow Princess Millens on all social media platforms and on the website at princessmillens.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Restore My Soul podcast.